Systems work, people fail. Welcome to InsureMark's Advisor Mentorship Podcast with Vice President Jeremy Hauser.
What good is an idea if it is never implemented? Welcome to this week's episode of the Advisor Mentorship Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Hauser, and today we are going to chat with one of the top entrepreneurs in the financial service industry. He is an entrepreneur that is a certified financial planner who runs a 100% virtual practice to help people all throughout the country with their retirement planning needs. Our guest today is Mike Milligan, owner of Ideas by Mike. How are we doing today, Mike?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Well, we just had a tornado come through Houston, but outside of that, we're doing all right, to say the least.
Well, I see that you adapted fastly this morning.
Yes,
in order to make this work. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, so looking forward to our time together today.
Yeah, and that's what we'll dive into the topics. So definitely want to do a great conversation around entrepreneurship and being flexible, literally living through this right now here in Houston. So one thing that for the audience to know, we actually had a conversation a couple years back. So that's why I'm very excited to have you back on as you continue to grow your business. First time we were chatting roughly 2 or so years ago, a little over 2 years ago. I believe at the time you just hired a couple people on staff. Mm-hmm. So you went from a one-man shop to 2 people to then 3 people. And now you'll probably give us an update of where you're at today. So why don't you share with the audience a little bit about the mindset of an entrepreneur and what drives your business?
Well, I think an entrepreneur sees problems as opportunities. I know that's very cliche, right? And that's something that we all, have heard before. But entrepreneur doesn't get trapped in conventional wisdom when it comes to solving problems that are out there. They believe in their mind that they see a new way to take things that are complex and make them simple. I am a financial planning professional, a certified financial planning professional at that, right? That came through the banking world to eventually work in insurance companies, and then as a financial advisor to now where I consider myself a business owner with a mission to be different. My life mission from this point forward, as it has become very clear, is to change the financial planning industry. Mm-hmm. My team wants to work with individuals who don't fit the mold of traditional financial advisors and financial advisory firms who have a mission to do what's in the best interest of their shareholders, and do it the way they want to do it versus what the clients need. Mm-hmm. But the other ways I want to change the industry is I also teach at Old Dominion University in the financial planning field. We're creating the next generation of financial planners. And I also coach newly licensed people that have been in the business for about 5 years. I coach them on what it takes to kind of be exceptional in this field and to think different. I really do all this, Jeremy, because I want Americans' retirement to be different than what it currently is projected to be. I want it to be secure, and I want them to live without fear and anxiety in retirement. And so, yes, I am a certified financial planning professional, but I am an entrepreneur at heart, looking to kind of change what's going on in this industry.
And I mean, incredible how you give back, obviously, to those that you're trying to help. I heard a lot in there with vision. Obviously, that's a huge vision because financial service industry was well around before you and I were born. So
that's right.
That's a big vision. So who are some of the folks that you actually try to emulate when you're growing your business?
See, when I first started in this business, I saw like my peers, right? Other financial planners, other financial advisors as who I wanted to emulate. And over 25 years in this business now, I feel like I've gotten toward the top of the financial planning field. I think that, I get asked to speak at events. I get asked to coach new folks that are not even with our company. Getting asked to teach at Old Dominion, I feel like I'm at the top of the field. So like now I've had to look outside of our field to try to get inspiration. And like, so there's most people look at, some people as success stories, visionaries, right? Think of like Jeff Bezos. He was, the creator of Amazon. He was a banker that turned into a hedge funder who turned into the founder of Amazon with the initial mission of being the best book club on the internet. That was his mission, right? Steve Jobs was a dropout from college, and he did that so that he could be a video game designer. And he spent time in India in pursuit of, like his calling in life. And, he created the most innovative company, in my opinion, the most innovative company still today after his death. If you want to talk about a legacy, that's a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you look back even further, JP Morgan was one of the men who built America. Out of the Panic of 1893, that's the one we never talk about, right? We always talk about the Great Depression, but the Panic of 1893, he turned around and turned U.S. Steel, right, into the first billion-dollar corporation. See, Bezos wanted Amazon to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. Jobs wanted, he came up with this campaign when he came back to Apple the second time called Think Different, right? That was both for his employees and customers. And JP Morgan said, through his time, like his vision was like, if you have to ask how much it costs, you probably can't afford it.
Right.
See, those are people that I think about now, but real entrepreneurs, they see those as inspirations, right? And then they start looking in different industries for people to compare themselves to and compete against, because winners like to compete. Entrepreneurs like to compete. They're winners. But then they also have something that's very personal, right? And I have two very personal stories. One that centers around my grandmother having to turn a life of tragedy, right? When she found out the love of her life for over 50 years, had cancer, who had been the primary breadwinner. She had to become an entrepreneur at the age of 64. And she grabbed a little 11-year-old middle school snot-nosed kid, which was me, and brought me along for her entrepreneurial journey, like selling collard sandwiches. And I got to walk through the journey with her hand in hand on how to grow a business to survive, not to thrive, right? My grandmother was never trying to thrive. She was just trying to survive. She was just trying to live. So I saw that entrepreneur spirit. And then through other tragedy in my life, like my brother passed away in a car accident. It's been almost 3 years now. And to see the impact my work as a financial planner impacted his life. So like now I am on a mission to change the industry because it's personal, but I do have heroes and inspirations that are outside of the financial planning business in the entrepreneurs, because Bezos, Jobs, and JP Morgan, they were entrepreneurs. They started something from zero. I'm not ever saying, Jeremy, that Ideas by Mike is going to be the most client-centric company in the world, right? I do think that we think different inside, but I love the comment from Morgan, like, if you have to ask how much it is, you probably can't afford it. And it's one that I use in our business often. So that's where I try to get, my inspiration for growth. It's from Mount Rushmore people in business, but it's also my grandmother in how I grow my business.
And you mentioned 25 years of doing this and looking outside the box, outside the industry. It's incredible. Actually, I didn't know that. To be honest with you, I'm kind of ashamed. I didn't know that about Bezos, that he was he was actually a hedge fund guy. But knowing that, so for 25 years, and the fact of where he's taken his business, where have you seen the financial service business when it comes to innovation over the last 25 years? Where do you think the financial planning business is today, and where all have you seen it as it evolves?
Well, I think people have gone away from being local. It's not just about like the people of Norfolk, Virginia, or Nashville, Tennessee, or Houston, Texas, right? I think people have looked broader. I think COVID forced us to look broader. Um, you know, I and they're looking broader for the best solution for their situations, and um, they're turning from advice, from taking the word 100% of advisors and looking to be educated about what their money is. I mean, I think we're entering a time. I mean, this is and I think surveys and academics are pointing us in this direction. This has happened. I think the younger generation of workers are going to continue to evolve and change. And what we know, Jeremy, what you and I know, and what we tell people all the time is there's like $170 trillion of money that's going to change from one generation to the next over the next 10 to 12 to 15 years. And we also just saw like this Y charts article, remember, that we saw from 2023 that showed that almost 50% of folks in 2023 changed advisors, and there were even more looking to change advisors, because what I think is happening is people are starting to realize that the guy down the street is not necessarily the person who can help me, because that name that's on the door, when it's not their name, they're not as invested in my future as they are invested in the pay plan and comp grid of the company they're working with. And so, I think it's really about finding a strategy for long term that people can deal with. And in our company, we are looking for innovation that fits the needs for our clients. We look at rules-based approach. I know that, in a podcast here soon, you're going to have some rules-based approach index guys that we use a lot in our business, but we use that to take emotions out of investing, and we help people get guarantees and protect what they have, because I think that's what people really want, is they want to alleviate fears and anxiety. That's what coming out of COVID, I think, was the biggest thing, is they want to make sure that when that happens again, in whatever that is, that they don't have fear and anxiety like they felt from February to really that whole year, right? That this world has changed forever. So that's what we do. That's how we're trying to innovate. We're looking forward and not trying to do the exact same thing that this industry has done for the last 100 years.
Yeah, and you actually mentioned something. We just had it was a monumental episode, but we had two experts in academia on the previous episode. It was Robert Shiller, Nobel Prize winner in economics in 2013. And one of the things he discussed in there was talking about how the evolution since COVID for the last 4 years now, how people nowadays, especially when it comes to their work, he sees the foreseeable future. People are going to be living 100, 180 miles away from where they actually worked back in 2020. And that's just the reality of where people are. Jeremy Siegel from Wharton, as a professor there, he talked also about having home real estate and wanting to work from home / people want to buy homes with houses. So there's a lot of things that continue to evolve each and every day that I think people nowadays also just are creating their own standard. So I know you talk to people across the country, like all over the country, so all 50 states that you're actually speaking to, which is pretty remarkable for in the financial service industry. So what are some of the common challenges that you're seeing from, let's say, business owners that you talk to in different states across the country?
What I see is a common theme, right? Jeremy, one of the things that I do is I feel like I talk to people different than what the media talks to people and what most financial advisors will talk. Like I just see things for how they are. And, the goal is if we can take the reality and just make it better for somebody, like, we're going to have interactions with, in our company, we're going to have interactions with thousands of people this year, if not 10,000 people, to be honest. We're going to have interactions with we're going to pop into their life. Some of them are going to be clients, some of them are not. And, the goal is to help make their life better. But one of the common things we see is that business owners are overworked, underpaid, and under-resourced. And it's no different, really, than employees of like the federal government or are people who are in corporate America. See, many business owners are putting in 70 to 80 hours of work per week, right? And they do it because they love it and they feel like they can change their slice of the world in some way. And I applaud all the people because, I put in work in our business, right? I'm spending time with clients. I'm spending time building up our team, which is up to 12 people now. And then the people we deal with outside, we have probably another 100 to 150 relationships with people outside that we can, that are not even clients, that are business owners trying to grow. See, it's one thing. It's one of the things that I struggle with, because when you're a true visionary, business owners see those problems that they know they can solve. I mentioned that earlier, and they really feel that it's their mission to solve it. And I feel no different. And there's people that are solving real world problems, right? Or really problems people didn't even know existed, right? To make people's lives better. And that's what business owners are seeing these days.
And innovation. I mean, yeah, to your point, you mentioned a lot about resources, and that's one thing for business owners too, is it's not about, although we talked about an Amazon, so there's Bezos, people know about him, but it's not just Bezos, it's a team that's behind him and hiring the right people. So how important is the right team for today's entrepreneur when it comes to staffing and having the right people around you?
Most business owners are big personalities, right?
Yeah.
You laugh at that, but it's 100% true. Business owners come with an ego. They come with it's my way or the highway. And they also see the company's money as their money, right? Which in reality it is. I mean, the IRS sees, a sole practitioner's money as, the individual's money, or their LLC is their money. But like, you have to get out of the context of like, my way is the best way. It's all my money, because it's not. It's you have to get into a growth mindset that there's other people there. So Dan Sullivan, you and I know Dan Sullivan. He wrote the book Who Not How. And it's one of the biggest transformational books I ever read. It got me out of the way of wanting to do everything myself, or even really wanting to know about every detail of my company. Right. Now I hire really talented people, right, that I can express vision to, that they can catch, and I continually put the vision in them that we are going to be a dynamic financial planning company that's going to break the mold of traditional financial advisors, when we're going to help our clients to have an impact, right? I say that vision over and over again. And then we have a motto in our business that everybody has to know, but they have to live, that we create one-of-a-kind financial plans for our clients' one-of-a-kind life. Because there's everybody we talk to, there's nobody average, right? And when we have mission and vision on those two things, and everybody gets it, and you get the right people in place, you can go. On the last podcast you and I did together, we talked about how you should build a team. How I found Caitlin and how I found Kelsey, because just like I'm trying to be a dynamic financial planning firm, and I'm looking for inspirational leaders outside of our business, you have to, you sometimes have to get outside of your industry as a business owner to find other thoughts that can help solve your problems and help you get out of the way. And so, I believe that strong people who are successful doing other things, like Caitlin was in the court system, like Kelsey was in serving the retirement community as an activities director, as Liz was in client management in a totally different industry, as Katie was in concierge mortgage, right? And I can go on and on about our team. But just as they bring those shared skills into our company, and then they catch the mission statement and the vision statement, then we can really change this industry. I mean, I'm not trying to be I mean, I'm not just saying that just as some, just something to, as a rallying cry. I really think we can change the industry, but it's about having the people to do it. And I know that we're going to have to grow. I know that, if there becomes a point in everybody's business that growth, that sometimes you grow just because, right? You have no reason to grow. But when talented people come along who can influence one of your, can influence your mission or your vision, you have to create room for them, right? You have to give them some direction, but you create room for them to expand your business. Jeremy, you're a father and I'm a father.
Yep.
And we've had multiple kids, right? And like when I had Zach and you had Patrick, our first kid, right? We just got this amazing love, like right away. But then like when we had Grace and you had Olivia, you didn't love Patrick any less, and I didn't love Zach any less. The love just grew, right? And that's kind of like in your business, right? We've got this great capacity individually, like where love just grows when a new person comes into your life that changes your life. It's the same in your business, right? Your business can grow when you bring somebody that's really talented into your business and let them do the things they're passionate about with the vision and the mission that you've put in place.
I completely agree with that. I'd say when Olivia was born, it was definitely a different experience because it's a little lady that you're bringing into the world. And I think kind of to do the correlation of the business as it grows, you really look internally, and as the business grows, you really start to focus on what you can control, and that's you individually. So I think as businesses grow, people evolve. So that's that's very interesting perspective you just put there.
Same. And I'll agree with you about Olivia, because like when Zach was around, right? I mean, he was like my little homie, right? We would go out and we would ride bicycles, and if he would fall, I really didn't.
Yeah.
He'd just like, get up, right? And then when I saw Grace for the first time, right? It's interesting. You had a boy, then a girl, and so did I. When you get this girl, right, it's like a whole new reality.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like that in business too, by the way, right? Because like when you go from like two employees or 3 employees to 12, and you see that payroll number every 2 weeks come out, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a reality, right? When you all of a sudden see your payroll number on an annual basis be 7 figures, right? You know that you've got a thriving, growing business. When you see the end of the year profit be 7 figures, you're like, whoa, we are creating something internally. We're creating something special. And then when you look at like what your clients are saying about you, like on your reviews, right? Internally, when they're referring their friends and family in, you're like, wow, we've really got something here. Now, just like a family, right?
Yeah.
A business can always clean up some things, right? In the family, we could eat out less, we'd have more time with our kids and all that. In a business, right, we can become a little bit more profitable. We can do things a little more efficiently, right? But you don't want to lose what I don't want to lose in my business is the ability for each individual member to shine, right? To bring their creativity. I don't want to squash them, right? I don't want to squish their growth. I want people to come to my business and try to hire my people because that means they're really talented. Now, what I have to do is I have to compete. I have to offer superior benefits, a great work environment, top of the level pay, right? I have to show them that our mission and vision is being hit and that they are part of that, right? It's not Mike. It's called Ideas by Mike, but it's not Mike doing this, right? The goal in my company is to create a business so powerful that if I am not here, it can continue on, right? And it can continue on and grow from that point forward.
And that's one of probably the biggest challenge I would say in most fields, if not all, is getting in front of the right ideal client in the advisor world, outside the advisor world as an entrepreneur, always looking to enhance your marketing and resources to get your name and brand to people. So how have you actually seen marketing, or what have y'all done to switch up things? I mean, 50 states that you're marketing in, so I take it it's pretty challenging to try to catch the consumer. So talk a little bit about over the last couple of years what y'all are doing and how people can find you on the marketing front.
Well, so like if you were, 5 years ago pre-COVID, right?
Hmm.
Advisors were doing in-person seminars, right? Or they were getting referrals from existing clients they were meeting at their conference table, right? See, like you're literally, Jeremy, right now we're talking and you're at my conference room table right now.
Hmm.
I tell people that, I'm in your home, right? I'm in your office, right? This is the new way we communicate. So, 5 years ago, pre-COVID, right? That's the way everybody was operating. They were operating on a conference room standpoint. They were trying to meet people organically, locally through referrals, maybe paying some people to teach them in libraries, right?
Hmm.
What we do is in this kind of post COVID world, and I know people always hate to hear that, but that's where we are. That's the reality. And the further we get away from it, we're still in a post COVID world,
Hmm.
right? You have to realize that behaviors when something that traumatic happens in the world, behaviors forever change. Now there's going to be some people who fight them and want to go back to
Right.
the old ways, and there'll be a small people that are successful in doing that. But we have forever changed how
Right.
we operate and do business, not just ideas by Mike. Everybody has
Mhm.
has,
The consumer's needs have
they
changed.
have
Yep.
totally changed.
Yep.
And so one of the things that, um, one of the things that in this, the financial services business has been around even before the Great Depression, right? But,
Hmm.
it's evolved tremendously over the last 100 years. But we just had that transformational change in COVID. So one of the things I see is just like before, you met people where they were, right? Or where they wanted to be met. We do the same thing now. We meet them through social media engagement,
Hmm.
right? We meet them through website engagement. We meet them through referrals of people in the neighborhoods. One of the things that we tell, I'm giving away some secret sauce right here now, Jeremy, for people that are actually in this space or trying to aspire to be virtual advisors. But one of the things we tell people over and over again is that a lot of the clients we meet who don't meet the traditional mold or don't fit the traditional mold of financial advisors have their money in their company plans like 401ks, thrift savings plans, or even IRAs that they self manage. And we're meeting them in a spot where they don't want people that who are their next door neighbors
Yeah.
or people they go to church with or people they run into the grocery store to know what they have. The famous book, Millionaire Next Door,
Hmm.
that's probably 20 years old now, talked about that the average millionaire drove an F-150 truck and, had their money in their corporate plan. I tell people that, working with us, we meet you where you are, but it'll allow you to maintain your privacy.
Hmm.
So nobody in your community, right? Because I meet people where I am. I'm in Norfolk, Virginia today. When I'm in Houston, I meet people there virtually. When I'm in Nashville, I meet people there virtually. When I'm in Paris, I meet people virtually. They don't know where I am. That if they ask me, I tell them. But we meet people where they are. And
Hmm.
one of the things that's interesting is we tell them that privacy is important to you because you haven't gone out and sought advice locally before. But you're going to come to a point, whether it's today or in the future, that you're going to need help with your finances. You're going to be mentally slower, physically slower. You're
Hmm.
going to want to take care of the people that are important to you. You're going to take care of the charities that, you've impacted. And part of that is we'll go on the journey with you. The journey is just not this call today. The journey is for the rest of your life and beyond, right? And so we have to show people that through this post pandemic shift, that there's people who are ethical, trustworthy, who can deliver for them, and who want to build a financial plan that goes for their life.
Hmm.
It's not a transaction; it's a plan, and that's what we're able to accomplish. That's why we look at Amazon so much, and we look at Apple, like in their business models, to compare our virtual models, because those really are two virtual companies if you really think about it, right? And in those virtual companies, they've been able to build brand loyalty and brand identity that's different than any other financial company per se, or any individual financial planner has been able to do on a large scale. And that's what we're trying to do on a large scale, build identity. So when people come and see us, we do that. That's why it's so important. Like our tools are YouTube, webinars, Instagram, Facebook, and forgive me, Jeremy, TikTok.
Yeah.
Those are our tools, right?
Yeah.
Or, we have a podcast called Ideas by Mike. We use all of these tools to be able to get people to understand us, understand who we are, because ultimately every future client to us is a stranger to us right now. Somebody we've never met. Every future client is a stranger. And what we know is that those strangers who eventually turn into clients have done all of their homework on us. They've Google searched us. They've watched multiple videos. They've attended multiple webinars. They've looked at Instagram. They've looked at Facebook. They've looked at our website. They know my story and what I'm going to talk to them about before. And think about the time efficiency that allows, Jeremy. I mean, it's an amazing time efficiency saver.
Yeah. And I'm that's where really for the entrepreneur, and it's convenience as well too. It's on their time. They're not having to jump into the car. I mean, being able to operate at basically your timetables is pretty efficient. And then, like you mentioned, I think the fact that your office and your operations can leverage what you're doing and constantly communicating with your people, it really sets the bar a little higher for Ideas by Mike's competition, because a person who maybe just found you randomly on a webinar or on YouTube or wherever it may be, they can listen to hours and hours of you talking about what's going on in the financial space, real stories, and the fact that they can now jump on your calendar and they don't have to necessarily get in the car and go right down the road is pretty convenient. So, and wealthy people want convenience and wealthy people want to be efficient. So it makes sense. That's what made Amazon. Amazon's just very convenient. So that's
right.
Why people don't leave it.
Amazon is pandemic proof, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are global financial crisis proof. They are, they're if two countries decide to get in a war, right? Up until this time, they are, they still earn money, they still make money, because they're providing the best client-centric experience on earth. And that was his original timeline or that's what he wanted for Amazon. He just started in the book business, right? But because that was the easiest way for him to make an impact the quickest. But like when you see, originally wanted to be the greatest client-centric business on earth, and look where they are now. Do you think they're done with that vision though? You think they're done with that vision, right? He's not. He didn't say best in Washington State or the best in the United States. He said on earth. And I think if you were to ask them, they're not done by any stretch of the imagination, and they're at the top of what they do. I can't even imagine who they think their competition is. I mean, because it's not, right?
That's a good question. I'm not sure who that would be.
You should bring him on your podcast and ask him that one question.
Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah, if you're listening, you're welcome. So, very good insight. I loved. There's so many nuggets here that we've chatted about. As we're wrapping up, is there anything that we missed out on, or anything you'd like to share as we're closing out here?
I mean, the only thing I would share is that nothing is permanent. Right. We try to grasp on to, where we are at this point in time, and, where we try to grasp on to a saying, right, and make it a permanent forever statement. And if anything has taught me, like through my experience, right, through studying, some of the greatest entrepreneurs, through building an aspiringly great business. We're not there yet, but, we're aspiring to be great. And we're aspiring to make an impact. If I've learned anything, is that nothing's permanent. You have to be able to, you have to be willing to make organizational changes with really talented people, because you never know what they're going to bring to the table. And you have to be, and growth is just, it's a mindset that when you have a vision is far greater when you bring those talented people around you. So, I mean, people can reach out to us on any of our socials. They can reach out on our website, ideas. Everything is Ideas by Mike, at Ideas by Mike or ideasbymike.com. Everything is that. And if you ever, like, if anybody's listening wants to just reach out with a question that, I can answer or my team can answer, we're here. We're here to serve, because at the end, our mission is three-pronged. We're a dynamic financial planning industry that wants to help people that don't fit the mold of traditional advisors. And the third one is the most important, so that we can make an impact together. And if we can help anybody impact retirement planning space, or impact operational efficiency, or impact, just clients, right? If there's clients who need, something different than what they're currently given, we're here, right? We'll tell you if what you got is good for you. And we do that quite often, because if we're not here to take business or help people who have really good advisors, it's not our role. Our role is to help those who don't fit the mold of traditional advisors. It's not to take people from really good advisors. It's to help those who don't have really good advisors. So, I mean, that's how I would end.
And study shows in 2023, 54% of people did not like their financial advisor and they chose to go elsewhere. So I think that's a good market space. I think that's a good one.
I do too.
So appreciate your time. Obviously, Mike, thank you very much for sharing your insight as an entrepreneur. Definitely very insightful. Huge vision for y'all's company. Thank you also to the listener for tuning in, and make sure to subscribe on your favorite listening device so you do not miss out on any future episodes. Follow us on LinkedIn at Jeremy Hauser, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is at Jeremy Hauser AMP. Make sure to check out those post clips. We usually post those on LinkedIn, YouTube, from previous guests and upcoming episodes. So you won't want to miss that. And as you share this podcast with a friend, and as we wrap up, remember, in a world full of betas, be an alpha.